Hello, I am Prometheus. This is Book Zealots. Arion is currently reading, something I should probably be doing. But I have recently finished The Eye of the World and The Great Hunt in the Wheel of Time series. This video is in response to personal opinions and conjectures I have made based on what I have gleaned from reading the book and debating some of the decisions made by the characters and some of the plot choices. This is personal opinion and conjecture, and there's a good chance this will turn into incoherent rambling relatively quickly. Apologize in advance while I still have my sanity. Let's get to it. First, in The Great Hunt, the main character, Rand, attempts to push away his friends due to... Oh yeah, there should be spoilers. Spoilers! Pushes away his friends to protect them, while not giving them a choice in the matter, and his friends, who have known him since they can remember, so around 3 or 4 years old, get highly offended by it. Which, okay, fine. He's your best friend and he's trying to push you away for unknown reasons. But it lasts a lot longer than I thought it should have, because it just seemed like their friendship was really weak for it to have lasted as long as it had, because if your friend is acting weird and trying to push you away without giving you a reason, you tend to want to find it out. You don't just say, oh, okay, fine, I won't speak to you. Yo, you want to talk to me? Goodbye, I'm going over here to mess with tea. I just didn't think that was their dynamic in the first book, so that was one of the problems I had. The second one was where to begin? The second one was the Aes Sedai. They are confusing characters. Personally, I thought they were unsympathetic to the majority of humanity, which I understand, greater good and all that. I've had more than a few theoretical situations that I've run through my head. Absolutely necessary in certain cases, but for them it is more an all-the-time thing. While they do attempt to recoup some of the damages they cause a lot of damages. Such damages are Moira in the first book, the Eye of the World, breaking the ferry, the resulting burning of the inn, I don't remember the inn in Berlioz, the Amerlin seat in the Great Hunt causing a windstorm, which flooded a river, which caused large crop damage near it. So just certain things like that that could easily destroy their livelihoods, and only occasionally mentioning that they actually tried to repair the damage they caused in the supposed protection of the world. The female characters seemed entitled. That was just my personal musings on it. They had a superiority complex. Usually they also had the ability to channel, so I wonder if their power system is based off of ego. That's just the way it seemed to me. What else? Turek versus Rand in the very end. Turek was a lord in a warrior-based society who earned the right to carry an indestructible blade. Okay, and based on the way his body was described, it sounded like he trained with that sword every day for years. It was complete muscle and sinew. And Rand beat him? I call into doubt that, personally. Rand may have had the one power, or not. Actually, he said he didn't use the one power, just the void, which is basically letting his instincts take over. But I doubt instincts would be able to beat a pure fighter like Turek, who had also trained for years and was an experienced warrior, and I assumed a person who has fought Mortal Kombat a few times in his life. I think they said he was 30 plus years old, so in a warrior-based society, I assumed that would have happened. So that was another problem I had with the books, is that Rand beat him. And then Rand's self-denial of stuff that became blatantly obvious seemed a little immature, basically. This is a medieval society. I would have expected a 16-year-old or near 16-year-old to have had a higher maturity level than just to be delusioned into into different. Let me back up. In the first book, he found the Dark Lord, and there was this black string attached to him of coursing evilness, and he used Ex Machina light blade, and he sliced it. For the beginning of the second book, he was telling everybody, "Oh, I killed him, he's dead," and everybody's saying, "No, he's not. He's a 3,000-year-old supreme being of evil. They don't just die because you cut tiny little black cord of evilness." And then eventually, about midway through the book, Rand convinces himself, after the Dark Lord brands his hand by heating up his sword red hot, that, oh, yeah, the Dark Lord's still alive. Okay. And then at the end of the second book, after he stabbed the Dark Lord, which resulted in his unbreakable, undullable blade melting down to about half its length, he told the Aes Sedai, "I killed him. He's dead." "Oh, no, your blade's melted. Doesn't matter if you stab evil supreme being in the heart with a blade that's indestructible. If your indestructible blade is destroyed, I'm going to assume that means he's not dead." The only time I can think of anything like that happening is at the very end of the third movie of The Lord of the Rings. Oh gosh, I wonder if that's copyrighted. Anyway, where Merry stabs the shallow ghoul thing, but that was a normal sword and it disintegrated. Yeah, I'm rambling at this point, aren't I? Okay, let's go back. One more point I would like to make is the Dark Lord. What makes him a Dark Lord? I mean, yeah, the Trollocs that he uses in the Mithril, they're not great to humanity. They tend to use them as a food supply, which is not good for humans. But in comparison to how the Aes Sedai treat the general population of humanity, and even worse, men who can channel or use the One Power, Rand is being offered the deal of a lifetime with the Dark Lord, which doesn't make any sense why he would continue to deny it. We have Rand, who wants to stay alive. That's his stated goal. Stay alive and keep his friends alive. Okay, two stated goals. The Dark Lord wants to break the Wheel of Time and kill the Great Serpent, which I don't know the exact repercussions of that, but from what I understand, time has been repeating every age, 7 ages or something like that. So the Dark Lord wants time to stop repeating itself. He wants to stop Groundhog's Day. Seems reasonable enough, assuming my assumptions are correct. But he has to have Rand on his side to help him. He'll help consolidate power. And what he said was that he controls the grave, which, as far as I can tell, is a truthful statement. Which means if Rand joins him while he's alive, Rand gets immortality, immense power, the ability to learn how to actually use the power without going insane or rotting away, because that's what's going to happen to him if he doesn't join at this point, and control of the world. Right now, Rand has a great bargaining chip, is that the Dark Lord wants him. Whereas the Aes Sedai have stated multiple times they want to gentle him, which I've basically created the allegory of a lobotomy, because most people who are gentled don't want to live anymore. They lose the ability to think clearly, they slowly retreat from the world, and they just give up living and give up the ghost, so to speak. They have stated that they want to do this to Rand, whilst there is a heated debate in the books between the Aes Sedai of different factions, whether or not to just do it immediately and then take on the Dark Lord, or have Rand beat the Dark Lord, then lobotomize him, or kill him. Killing him is another option. And yet, Rand has not considered the possibility of getting rid of the Aes Sedai, but he is full-heartedly against getting rid of the Dark Lord. Does that make any sense? Dark Lord seems like the best option. Rand just has to negotiate, hey, don't kill the people, get rid of the Trollocs, you don't need them anymore if I join you. We get rid of the witches, we destroy the wheel, everything should be hunky-dory, assuming the destroying of the wheel and the serpent doesn't have any long-lasting consequences. I mean, it shouldn't. But as the Dark Lord stated, he controls the grave, which means once Rand dies of old age, madness, or is murdered through unexplained means, he'll just end up in the Dark Lord's hands anyway as his puppet. So there's that. And he's lost his bargaining chip at that point. So Rand doesn't seem to make any sense or hasn't properly thought that out. And then there are the, how would you describe them? The women in his life. The first one, Ewan, the first one we're introduced to in the series, basically he was promised to her around 8, maybe younger. She feels entitled to him. She treats him like a pack horse. She's called him a pack horse several times. Stubborn as a mule. She, I think, qualifies as a psychopath. Slightly manipulative, uncaring of others' feelings, self-important, grandiose, possibly? The second love interest is one of the Forsaken, a 3,000-year-old woman who survived the madness, joined the Dark One, and, yeah, it was a bit crazy. But she does actually care about him, doesn't want him to die, so that's a benefit. The third one is Min. Somebody who, through unexplained means, can see tiny glimpses of a person's future based off of images floating around them that she can see. She seems to like him. It would be a nice, quiet life. And then finally, the fourth one, which needs a bit of work on that relationship, it's the Queen's daughter. The freaking Queen's daughter. Do I need to say more? It's the Queen's daughter. That has the most political savvy in that relationship, and as the Queen's daughter has stated, it is not an imperative that the man has a title before the marriage. Granted, I think Rand is too stupid to be married at this point. He doesn't have enough responsibility or maturity. So there's that. But yeah, those are just some personal musings on... But, there's personal musings, personal opinion. You disagree, please send a comment and back it up with something in the book. Does the third book get better? Please tell me it gets better. Oh yeah, I remember. In the end of the second book, The Great Hunt, Matrium Alverin, I can't remember his full name, he blows the horn of Vanir? I can't remember the name. He blows the horn that summons the ancient heroes. Now, the whole reason why the book went on this crazy gallivanting across the countryside was because whoever blows this horn is tied to this horn. You blow the horn, the people who are summoned by the horn, which are the greatest heroes of all times and ages, come and they help you, the person who blows the horn. Doesn't matter who blows the horn, as so stated in the earlier book. Not earlier book, but earlier in that book, The Great Hunt. That's why they chased Podden Fane, a dark fiend and a crazed nut job, over the land, because they were afraid that he would blow the horn and summon the heroes of every great age. That would be kind of impossible to beat, because they're basically that last ghost army at the end of Lord of the Rings' third movie. That being said, they do have repeatable chances on this one, supposedly. That sounds nice. But anyway, Matt blew the horn, but the ghosts only paid attention to Rand, who is apparently the dragon reborn from Lew's Theron Kinslayer. Why did they not listen to Matt? That kind of breaks the whole rule. Also, one of the heroes in there was Arthur Hawkwing, who then proceeded to decimate an army that was the descendants of his army that he sent across the ocean 2,000 years before the current events, and then he died before they ever came back, obviously. That just seems like a bit of a conflict of interests. Are these... Why did you... Are these ghosts not capable of remembering their previous life? But that's impossible because they recognize Rand as the Dragon Reborn. So, why did he kill his own people? Or the descendants of his own people? I don't know. So yeah, this is my personal musings, ramblings, and complete incoherent speech about the Great Hunt and the Wheel of Time series. I've only read the first 2 books, as I hold up 4 or 5 fingers. 2 books. I've read 2 books, and there seems to be a bit of a problem with them. Does it get better? Do the plot lines make more sense? Does the character make more rational deal making? Does he learn business? Maybe. Okay, this was a very dark episode. Thank you for joining Book Zealots. I am Prometheus, Arion, and I will come back with a mid-month mashup later this afternoon, because we tend to have crazy weeks and then get one day and just wait. Wait a few minutes. Or don't wait, because the video will come up around the same time. This whole time thing is very confusing. Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Oh, ow, spine.